Hello everybody and welcome back to the Speakeasy.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jake.
We are the Dirt Road Men. You know, now that we pepper in non-political shit with the political shit for the talk video, I actually enjoy it a lot more. This is our podcast, episode 5, I think. I don't fucking know.
One of them.
It's on there. Part of the problem is one of them didn't get posted in time to be relevant, so I just didn't post it, so I'm off. But, yeah. This weekend news. So yesterday was the South Carolina state primary. It was the last primary before Super Tuesday. Which is Tuesday.
No shit.
As in this Tuesday.
Yes, I was gonna say that's when the rest of the states vote for their primary.
No, but most of them.
Okay. Just Tuesday, motherfucker.
I poured whiskey out earlier, man. Fucked his head all up, so I wasn't sure where he was at.
Can't believe you've done that.
So, Biden actually was the big winner in South Carolina. I was pretty much ready to count Biden out, to be honest with you. And he came back and won 3 times the percentage of the popular vote that Bernie Sanders did, and more than double the delegates.
Which is surprising because he's a pedophile.
Yeah.
Sounds like one anyway.
He seems like one. I actually don't know. Now, I'm going to try to be fair to this guy for a minute, because I throw a lot of these motherfuckers under the bus. I think he might just be a weird, overly handsy old guy. Not full-on pedophile, but just like one of those people that has a tendency to touch you and make you uncomfortable.
Yeah?
When he's fucking talking to you. And he just kind of like slowly just makes it weirder and weirder. Please put that away.
It wasn't out.
That was his gun, not his dick, by the way. They might have thought we were playing a different game. That game, stop.
Which one?
Thought you were reaching for your gun again, and then I heard the sound.
Which one you want to get shot with? The gun, please.
The gun. I'll take the whole mag.
Yeah, you will.
Motherfucker. But this really puts Biden back in the race, because to be fair, there have really only been 4 states that have elected their Democratic nominee. Various means, but whatever. And really, Bernie Sanders was kind of the front runner in delegates. Or no. Buttigieg was the front runner in delegates. Bernie Sanders was the front runner in popular vote. Now Biden's right up there with him. Because he won by so much.
Wow.
And Bernie Sanders did the same shit in Nevada. So really, him and Bernie are kind of on an even keel right now. But,
now, as far as politically, is Biden as pro-communism as...
Biden is Obama 2.0.
Okay.
He's gonna push for more gun control if he can fucking remember where he is. Because he also, like, last week, we didn't talk about this in the video, and it happened before our last podcast, but he also was giving a speech about his election and said he was running for Senate. And then he said, if you don't like me, vote for the other Biden. Not the other choice, not the other Democrat, the other Biden. As though his son were running for anything. That fucking poor son of a bitch. That guy has a fucked up life story going on right now.
Yeah. He's probably got a lot of money about it, though.
Yeah, that's the only good thing in that whole story. He also married his dead brother's wife, who he was having an affair with, I believe, before his brother died. He has a drug problem. He is obviously in the middle of a corruption scandal that luckily the news media is or the whatever you want to call them, is completely ignoring. So, yeah.
That was fucking wild start to finish, man.
Yeah. I guess the dude's gangster or something. But it's really been like the last 10 years or so that this kid's just gone off the rails. And he's like 40. Because let's not forget, Biden's also like
90?
older than Trump.
Wow.
And Trump's a lot older than he looks.
He's in his 70s, isn't he?
He's in his early 70s. I think Biden's also in his early 70s. He's just a little bit older than Trump. And then Bernie, of course, is going to be 80 by like election day or soon after. But, you know, whatever. Boom! Still president. Yeah, it's really interesting. Because Biden got a really close second in Nevada, I believe it was. Or maybe not really close. I think Bernie blew everybody out of the water, but Biden came in second well over any other candidate. That's what it was.
Okay.
So yeah, right now it's between Bernie, Biden, and Buttigieg. But here's what's interesting, right? The way you win the presidency actually is by passing a certain number of electoral votes, right?
Uh-huh.
With Democratic nomination, you have to pass a certain number of delegates. If you don't pass that certain number of delegates, and it looks like it's possible that no candidate will, you go into the primary with a, or you go into the nomination with a contested primary, meaning the delegates at the DNC will choose who the front runner is, not the people that have been voting this whole time.
I have a question. Why the fuck they all got B names? Bernie, Biden, Buttigieg, Bloomberg,
Okay, keep going.
Hillary.
Elizabeth Warren.
The only ones that seem to really matter right now.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Bernie is his first name, as
Yeah.
opposed to the other two. But I see what you're getting at. I don't know. It's just weird.
It's a conspiracy.
Or a happy accident.
Those don't exist.
I wouldn't call it a happy accident either way. I'm just happy to see Bernie maybe not get nominated, although I am also concerned. A lot of people seem to think Trump has this election in the bag. I kind of agree with him. But if everybody starts thinking that, fewer people are going to vote. Fewer people turn out to vote for the guy, he loses.
Yeah.
Don't get fucking complacent. Remember how narrow that win seemed. Like, nobody went into election year 2016, election day 2016, thinking Donald Trump was going to be president. I voted for the motherfucker, and I sure as fuck didn't.
I thought it was all a joke.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, what?
How the fuck? I mean, great that it happened.
He's impressed me a lot more than I thought he would, because I voted for the motherfucker on a coin toss because I hated my choices. Coin toss between him and Gary Johnson, I would have never voted for Hillary, nor will I vote for a Bush. But, yeah. So that kind of encompasses the primary, as best I can give it to you. But I will be interested to see if they have a contested primary. If Bernie is in the lead when they go into the contested primary, I bet he still doesn't get the nomination. Because establishment Democrats, to Bernie's credit, don't actually like him. Because most of them are corporate Democrats.
He's a communist.
Yeah.
He's after their money, too.
Now mine went out. Well, that's the thing. He's after the money of the donor class. Like, however, well, we'll get to the other thing I want to say about Bernie in the next story. So,
okay.
But let's give them something a little different.
So, on a completely unrelated note, Blanton's Gold is coming to the U.S. finally. I don't understand
Whiskey news.
whiskey news. I don't understand why they wouldn't sell whiskey made in Kentucky in the United States.
I'm just pissed that it's not straight from the barrel. You still can't get Blanton straight from the barrel in the U.S. You cannot get cast strength Blantons in the United States.
But you can get it elsewhere.
You can go to the Bahamas. You can
Why?
go to England.
What are they doing to it that makes it not able to be sold here, or is it just
They just haven't gotten the correct stuff to sell it here.
the paperwork or what?
Yeah, pretty much.
Why? That'd probably be like a 10-minute ordeal for them because they sell so much stuff.
Dude, find me a fucking bottle of Blanton's.
Okay.
It's tough.
Still, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest.
That's what I mean. Everybody buys it.
Uh-huh.
It's gone.
Why are they not selling it here? Well, I mean,
You would think Blanton's, like Weller, would flood the market.
mm-hmm.
Weller's gearing up to do this. Weller's about to release like 5 new versions.
Really?
Yes. Also, I saw a bottle of CYPB the other day that I almost bought. It was like $400, and I would have been like, I really like having a phone. I just wish it worked.
What is CYPB?
Do you remember when you could go on the Buffalo Trace website and make your own whiskey? Your
Uh-huh.
dream whiskey? They basically made a whiskey out of the top results of that.
Oh.
And the top results were wheated bourbons, so they made it under the Weller label, and it became Weller CYPB.
Okay. Choose your personal bourbon. Create your personal bourbon.
Yeah.
CYPB.
Probably.
Okay.
It's $400 bottles.
Oh, Jesus Christ! You know, you mix that with some Dr. Pepper.
I mean, we just mixed a $400 bottle with Dr. Pepper today, so...
That was also from the same distillery.
Yep.
Oddly enough.
Yeah.
So, the only thing really different about the Blanton's Gold versus the other ones, or regular Blanton's, is it's at 103 proof instead of 90, or 93. Let me write that part down. And they have gold toppers instead of the whatever fucking color they are.
Mm-hmm. The regular, like, iron-looking toppers.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're pewter, actually.
Probably.
But, yeah. So it's a new set of toppers to collect that still just spell Blanton's. And, it's a little higher proof. To be fair, I would like to try Blanton's at over 100 proof, because honestly, given the amount of effort it normally takes to find it, and the price I paid for it last time, which granted it took no effort to find it, I found it by accident.
Yeah.
I went there to buy you something totally different and saw a bottle of Blanton's hidden in the bottom shelf. I was like, I'm getting this for my buddy for his birthday.
So guy probably came in right after you went straight to that shelf and went, where the fuck is it?
Yeah, the guy that owns the liquor store always looks at me weird because apparently he doesn't really hide them.
Uh-huh.
But I will get down and look through his shelves. It's like, man, I know when you get good stuff, sometimes it just hides.
So we also come in, be getting their usual, and be like, shit, Friday's only a couple of days away.
Yep. They have a 10-year Widow Jane for $75 there that I really wanted to buy. Probably would have bought had I not bought that.
Have we tried Widow Jane?
Nope. Anyway, yeah, there's not a lot different. The hype behind Blanton's right now kind of pisses me off. The hype behind Weller's starting to piss me off, but I really like that 107.
Yeah, Blanton's was... It was good. It was a good, solid Kentucky bourbon.
It was even an impressive bourbon, I would say, but not as impressive as you would expect.
Yeah, especially at that price point.
Yes. You can get Stag Junior much easier at that price point.
Mm-hmm.
Below that price point.
The biggest thing they got going for them is they do have an interesting, really unique, cool bottle.
Yep. And John Wick drinks them, so... That's what John Wick drinks in the first John Wick movie, anyway. Yeah. I just hope that this is a precursor to Straight from the Barrel coming to the U.S., which I will actually want to get. Because I had Blanton Straight from the Barrel, and it was amazing.
Oh.
Remember that basement I made it into the one day? That glorious fucking whiskey hole?
Yeah? He had some Blanton straight from the barrel.
Yep.
Good for you. If you watch this, good for you.
I was impressed.
I bet.
I also got to try 2 different iterations of George C. Stagg that day.
Mm.
I tried too many whiskeys. I went and ate a bunch of pasta. Like 2 dinners worth of pasta to just try to sober up.
Shit.
And some dumplings.
Oh, fuck.
All right, so let's pivot back because we essentially what we do here is we do some political stuff and we talk about that because that is part of our branding and part of the stuff that we talk about, and it seems to be something you guys like. Because, all right, so we'll pivot back into politics for a minute. There was another Democratic debate last week that no one watched.
Oh yeah.
It couldn't. They didn't even get it to trending on Twitter until an hour and a half into the debate.
Wow. Was it that boring?
Yes.
Who was it?
It was Bloomberg, Biden, Amy Klobuchar, Elizabeth Warren, and
Bernie?
Barry Sanders. Okay, so you know what? We'll get this in here. Here's a dummy Trump supporters moment, or just anti-Bernie people, I guess. Garth Brooks did a show this last week and walked out in a blue Sanders jersey. The number, I believe, 26, I think was the guy's number on it. And a whole bunch of people got super pissed and were like, I can't believe you would vote for that asshole. Which, first off, it wouldn't really shock me if somebody in the entertainment industry, even in the country music industry, were gonna lean left. I mean, fuck. Basically, all of them do. Wheeler Walker Jr. was the most disappointing.
Yeah.
I'll still listen to his music. I just will never give him a dime.
Yeah. Thank you, YouTube.
Yep. With ad blocker, so you can keep him from getting ad revenue.
Nothing.
Yes.
Nice.
He was wearing a Barry Sanders jersey, you dumb sons of bitches. I don't even remember what sport Barry Sanders fucking plays.
Probably baseball.
I think it was baseball. I'm trying to smart off. Damn it. It was a baseball-looking jersey.
Okay. I can Google it.
I could be wrong, though. That's what I mean. I'm not 100% confident in that answer. But, yeah, a whole bunch of fucking anti-Bernie people started giving him shit for wearing a Bernie Sanders jersey. It's like, yeah, good job, dummies. Part of me wonders if he is a Sanders guy and just wanted to troll the audience that way. Because I would respect that.
If you Google Barry Sanders, it's the first thing that pops up. Viral spread of ignorance.
Yep. Well, and of course everybody associates not liking Bernie Sanders with being a Trump supporter, so they want to pump it up in the news right now. Football. See?
American
I don't fucking
former
know what's
professional
up.
football player who was a running back for the Detroit Lions.
Oh, that's why I don't know. They suck.
They probably didn't when he played.
No, they didn't.
5'8". Wow.
It's not uncommonly short. Yeah, alright. So that was just hilarious and stupid. Good job, dummies. Alright. So, I saw something interesting from this other debate. A lot of it was people talking over each other and Bloomberg being a dick, and he did have a quote that I thought was fucking hilarious, which was, the easiest way to get Donald Trump elected is to play any 15 seconds of this fucking conversation. Which I thought was probably the most lucid comment from Bloomberg ever. You know, we got a comment on our old Medicare for All video where somebody was like, Bloomberg is not a reliable news source. I was like, no shit, Jason. We chose to use the figures of the people that support the shit when we said that it was dumb. Because we were like, even if we grant your premise, you're still a fucking idiot. But it gets better. The debate thing gets better than that little quote. The one thing that I mainly wanted to mention from it was Bernie Sanders praised Fidel Castro in it. And got booed.
Unanimously?
Not unanimously, but he got booed by a lot of people. Here's what was funny. Praising Fidel Castro is not a particularly new thing. Barack Obama praised Fidel Castro when he died. And it was actually like one of my least favorite things that the guy did. It was a perfect example of my problem with Obama. Policy-wise, my biggest problem with him actually was mostly his executive orders against guns and the fact that he had us bombing more fucking places.
I didn't like being charged for not having health insurance.
Well, that was the biggest one. He fucked our health insurance, and now everybody wants to bitch that the healthcare industry's fucked up when it's 10 times worse than before he got his grubby fucking hands on it. Which, to be fair, that was also Congress. He was initially pushing essentially Bernie Sanders' plan, and then Congress was like, nah, dog. And so they picked it apart, and then what we got was what they forced through after people picked it apart.
What happens when the government gets hold of anything? They fuck it up.
I know. That's what irritates me about people that act like Bernie Sanders is anti-establishment just because the DNC doesn't want him to run. It's not that he's anti-establishment and that he hates the establishment. It's that he hates the way the establishment is run. He wants to be the establishment, expand the establishment, and then he will run it benevolently. He will get it right this time.
I'm sure that's what Mao told everybody.
But he didn't shoot.
Yeah.
Now, I want to be 100% fair to Bernie here. He said in the same sentence that Castro did some dumb shit. But he's like, also remember that Fidel Castro educated his people and gave them health care. Fair. He also taught them how to fix cars by not letting them get any new cars after 1960.
He also taught them how to create their own internet by not letting them have internet.
Yes.
Or anybody into the fucking country to establish internet.
Yeah. I'm being facetious with the car comment.
Same.
He's
they did have internet because they figured that shit out themselves.
Mm-hmm. It's not super complicated. Getting it to work the way our internet does is.
Yeah.
But the basic concept of an internet, not super complicated.
They literally ran cables. Like they made their own cables and ran them across different places. And
yeah. So they essentially made the country one big small office network in the U.S. And everybody booed him. Here's why that's interesting. And Steven Crowder did this. You blew a smoke ring by accident.
Like a tiny little one.
They booed him, and then he stopped to be like, really? Really? Like he couldn't believe that he was being booed. Steven Crowder pulled up a thing from Trump in 2016 when he started getting booed on stage to show how differently the two people handled it. Bernie stopped. He didn't finish talking. He didn't finish it. He stopped to be like, are you guys serious right now? You're booing me? Donald Trump got booed, and he goes, he looks at the camera and remembers that his real audience is the people at home. And continues, but stops for a moment to say, the people booing me right now are all lobbyists and special interests that pay for these people that got bought into this room. That's why they're booing me. Because I don't need their fucking money. I don't care about their money, and I will do what's right for the American people regardless of their money. And that was what he said. And he was very intelligent in how he pivoted getting booed, whereas it derailed Bernie completely. And I think that Crowder did a good job of showing that shows that Donald Trump, while maybe not a good debater, is an effective debater and would destroy Bernie in a debate. Not through being necessarily like more technical or more descriptive of his policies or winning the argument by way of better data, but just by being better at knowing what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, how are big business deals done? You debate with the person back and forth, and you fucking settle on something or don't.
Right. And he is a businessman, a salesperson, more than he is anything else. And he's a populist, which is kind of dangerous.
What is that? What did you say?
He will change his opinions based on what his constituents think. So, if the Republican Party were suddenly to like, deep throat the Patriot Act, he would expand that shit.
Mm.
It was Bush's greatest legislation, or some stupid shit. Which, to be fair, I don't know a lot of people that vote Republican that are cool with the Patriot Act. Bush was a dummy when it came to that shit. But, I just thought that was an interesting contrast, and we got to touch base on that debate, so wanted to get it in the stories today.
Okay.
What other thing do you got? Because this one is actually also kind of political, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's another absolutely fucking stupid bullshit political.
But it relates to cigar
Government.
news.
Yeah. HR 2339 was a bill that got passed in the House.
Mm-hmm.
It's an anti-tobacco bill. Now, it does have wording that would lead to exempting premium cigars, which they defined premium as a minimum of a $12 price point.
Wow, so that actually eliminates most cigars that most people smoke.
Yeah. But it would ban.
You guys are going to arbitrarily inflate the price point of all of them to $12.
Ban non-face-to-face sales, so not going anything that doesn't involve like going into a brick and mortar.
Yeah, so online sales, which we support a couple of online retailers like Cigars Daily, Zeal Cigars.
Any of those
Cigars
in there,
International.
any of those in there, did you actually go and buy at a place?
The Grenadiers.
Yeah.
And there are 3 cigars in there that were bought at Ritter's.
Okay. So
maybe 10% of that humidor came from a brick and mortar. Because I think Seth's got some from Ritter's up here.
Oh, okay. I can't see the ones up there.
Yeah.
Ban flavored tobacco. And not only tobacco, but also vape.
Which is probably what they're targeting.
But then to throw in tobacco, because just saying the word tobacco, a lot of people are like, oh, it's bad. It's the whole actual cigarette industry is kind of a shit show. And I smoke cigarettes. Sometimes I actually smoke like real cigarettes. Most of the time I smoke little tiny cigars. But it's a shit show. There's a lot of bad chemicals in there. And
because their priorities are different.
It's also extending ad restrictions.
Yeah, because they're not restrictive enough. You literally cannot run an ad on Facebook if tobacco is in the name of your company. We know. That's why we're the Dirt Road Men. That wasn't our first name.
It's whiskey, tobacco, and firearms.
Yeah, our first name was a play on what the fuck. It was going to be whiskey, tobacco, and firearms. And we only did that because ATF is taken. And then we found out we couldn't run any ads.
So all of that. Now, this hasn't been passed into actual law. It still has to go. This was just in the House. It still has to go through the rest of everything. It's got to go through
The Senate and then be signed by the President.
Which,
I don't know if he would sign it or not. He was talking about banning flavored vapes. He was talking about issuing an executive order to do so even.
Yeah.
Which would have frustrated the shit out of me.
Yeah. Because if I want to put something in my body that, like, alcohol or tobacco, just fucking leave me alone.
I genuinely, I mean, I may not want to hang around you, but I don't give a fuck if you want to do meth. Just don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
If you're not making me do meth, if you sell my kids meth, I might bust out your knees. But
Bust them out.
yes,
You won't have them.
this is documented proof, so I might bust out your knees.
With a hammer. Or a bat. But
Here's what's frustrating me about this, though. I will concede the point that 45 has not been the most tobacco-friendly president. However, so many people in cigar groups that we're in talk about how Trump is shitting on the cigar industry. I want to point out that the House introduced and passed this bill with bipartisan support. I get it. There were Republicans that voted for it. I checked. But the House is predominantly what?
Democrat.
Bingo. Mostly Democrats did this currently. Now, the other side of the dipshit bird may also pass it in the Senate. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm 100% a Republican. I think, honestly, we're probably more libertarian than anything because the core value is more freedom than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And Republicans have done some dumb shit in the past. Donald Trump banned bump stocks. Bush passed the Patriot Act. That's off the top of my head some stupid shit Republicans have done. The fucking Firearms Act, the National Firearms Act of 1980 whatever, was fucking signed by Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't sit here and think that we like deep throat Republicans all day.
Yeah. It was also purposely let to expire by Bush.
No, you're thinking of the 95 ban. That was
the assault
weapons ban. Yes. I'm talking about the one that makes it damn near impossible for us to get machine guns.
Those are in the fucking 1920s.
That started in the 1920s. The one that made it to where you couldn't get any more manufactured after a certain date was signed by Reagan.
Okay.
Yes, there was a thing in the 20s, then there was the 30s where they did the beginning of the act that became the National Firearms Act, where you had to get a tax stamp that was $200, which at the time was like $2,000, and now it's still $200, thankfully, but it's still kind of a pain in the ass to get.
It's a lot more than that.
Yeah. I hope that this dies and doesn't become law, because it will drastically alter the cigar industry and affect our ability to do what we do. It'll affect our bottom line as a business, which is super frustrating. We try to support brick and mortar shops. Normally what I do is I go into brick and mortar shops and I buy one and sit there and smoke it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy bulk from brick and mortar shops because it's more expensive. It will ridiculously hurt the cigar industry, which is not a large industry. It's like a $4 to $8 billion industry. The whole industry, the business values added together, are like not even Bloomberg's net worth.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They're individuals worth more than the entire cigar industry.
Which is fucking crazy.
I
mean, cool. Good for you. However the fuck you've made your fortune. I'm not one to shit on somebody because you're rich.
I'm only going to shit on you if you're rich, if you then use the government to help you do your dirty work.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Jeff, I'm going to shit on my own employer here for a second. Jeff Bezos upped the minimum wage at his company to $15 an hour. Prior to that, he was fighting against the fight for 15.
Uh-huh.
Then he started going for the fight for 15. I 100% believe that has nothing to do with him having a change of heart and everything to do with the fact that he wants nobody to be able to pay their people less than he does. He wants nobody to have that advantage.
To pay his people less than he does.
To pay their employees less than he does.
Oh.
So if everybody has to pay them $15 an hour, now his employees are preemptively paid as little as possible. And he gains an edge on all the small businesses trying to cut in on any space that he currently has his hands in, which is everything.
Because he's already paying his people that much.
Uh-huh. And he did that because of pressure from people like Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, people like that. The fight for 15 crowd. But then he turns around and tries to use the government to give him back the business advantage, now that he's gained the political advantage.
I don't.
That's the shit that pisses me off.
Yeah. The whole $15 an hour minimum wage, that's stupid. There's gonna be a lot of small businesses that are just going to completely shut the fuck down. There's going to be a lot of big businesses that are going to shrink. There's going to be a lot of jobs lost.
We have some really basic work involved with Dirt Road Men that I currently do that I would be willing to pay someone $5 an hour to take care of for me every week. We can't afford to pay them more than that.
You could have, and most of it's stuff that you could probably have your kid doing.
Yeah.
Like, he's smart enough. He could probably figure it out. You show him how to do it a couple times, he could probably do it.
Yeah.
You can pay him, whatever.
And we could afford to pay him based on the profits we made this month.
Mm-hmm.
If we paid him $5 an hour. If I had to pay him $15, oh, fuck that shit. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It would limit the possibility of expansion for our business. And I'm not sitting here saying that we're this, obviously we're not a big business. We make a little money selling you guys shit at dirtroadmen.com.
And that's dirtroadmen.com, no caps, one word, .com.
dirtroadmen.com. Yeah, it's stupid, and like I said, it affects our bottom line because we do these videos. Now, granted, a large part of the reason we do these videos is we explore these areas anyway, and it is kind of a tax deduction for us. If we were to make enough money that became a major concern.
You have to make $9,000 plus a year.
Yeah.
To have to claim something on taxes.
Well, I had a tax prep person look at our business taxes, not last year, but the year before. Because I knew we made some money, but then it shook out that we broke even, basically.
Huh.
Now, we didn't see any of that shit, pretty much. I think I handed you $50 a couple of times throughout that year, maybe. And you only took it, once because you actually needed the money at the time. Every other time, you said the same thing you said to me this month, which was, let's reinvest it.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what I've been doing with my cut. Yeah. And I don't want to see people like Tim from Cigars Daily or Bradley from Zeal Cigars take that hit, and I don't want to take that hit because I buy shit in bulk from places like Cigars International, and then I gotta rest them and whatever, they have their problems, but it's crippling an industry that is already super heavily regulated. So that's dumb. All right, we spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah, we did. It's stupid.
It is. It's dumb. And as you can see, we are much more willing to passionately talk about whiskey and cigars. And then get into political theory. Before we did this, we made a video every time one of us thought we had something genuine to add to the discussion. Because we did do political videos before, sometimes. But it was when we would sit here and talk about it and have a different idea than we heard normally.
Yeah.
So this last one, I think, is actually a really cool reason to celebrate, even though it involves a treaty with people that we obviously don't like.
Okay.
We signed a treaty with the Taliban this week.
The Taliban?
The Taliban. We made peace with the Taliban.
Really?
Yep.
Actual peace?
Supposedly.
So are we getting the fuck out of wherever the fuck they're at?
Yes, we are. We spent years negotiating, and in 14 months, we are supposed to be the fuck out of Afghanistan. And we were just basically kicked out of Iraq, and we barely had any fucking people left in there anyway.
So are we actually going to effectively probably be pulled out of the Middle East? For the most part?
I mean, we have people in Syria a little bit, and we have people all over the place. But as far as major war efforts, yes.
Wow.
And of course, this doesn't make the fucking news. Barack Obama pulled major chunks of troops out of Iraq. And it got news coverage for days because our troops were coming home. Trump signs this treaty. I didn't fucking see it anywhere in major news headlines.
I saw something on it. I thought it was an old thing, actually. Omar Avila, or at Crispy11B on Instagram, shared it. I didn't read the whole thing because I thought it was an older thing, because the last thing he shared was him when he was deployed.
Mm-hmm.
Before he was Crispy.
Yes, obviously.
So, yeah, that's why I'm effectively just now hearing about this.
Yeah. I actually made a point of not saying anything to you before we did this, because I wanted to see how you felt about it. And you realized before I said it out loud what that meant.
That's fucking cool, though.
Yeah. For people, and here's what's funny, the little bit that I have seen some places talk about it, and this actually does include some right-wing sources too, people have been bitching that we shouldn't pull out of Afghanistan yet. It's too unstable. We're going to create a scenario like we did in Iraq where a place like ISIS can rise up, or the Taliban can become the Taliban as it was when we got there again.
Like we did in the 80s, kind of.
Yes. Now, the Taliban supposedly is a little more lax than it was when we got there. I'll believe that when I see it.
They're probably fucking scared.
Well, that's the thing. We killed all their fucking leaders. And just for good measure, we nuked a warlord a little while back, so we didn't nuke him, but you know what I mean.
We could have.
Yes. This guy at work was arguing with me for nuclear disarmament. I was like, the genie's out of the bottle, buddy. Pandora's box is open.
Yeah.
We can't disarm. He's like, what if we could just limit every country to having one? And I was like, really? Really? You think China and Russia are going to listen to us? You think we can go to China and Russia and say you get one nuke? And they're going to say, okay. They might.
They
might say, okay. And then they'll have 30, and they'll assume we actually have one. And we won't fucking do it either.
It's like I'm not going to scratch my ball.
Yeah. But I was happy to see that signed, because that means that in both countries that we went into since 9/11, we are effectively done. There will probably still be some somewhat presence in the Middle East, something like that, but nothing compared to what we've been doing for the last 19 fucking years. That's like one of my favorite things going on right now, to be honest with you. That was the one thing that I read that I had to talk about today that I was like, fuck yeah.
That will be phenomenal, because that will be... Supposing a lot of those guys who are over there are going to be coming home, for one. And maybe since we're not going to have that big of a presence over there, we're not going to need so many, like, on hand. So that will...
We'll see if it reflects in a budget cut next year, but I doubt it, to be honest.
I was going to say, like, even if it's not a budget cut, that money can be used to go somewhere else, or pay for them to go to fucking college, because I'll bet half of them are 19.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Maybe buy them all a pack of smokes.
Fuck.
Can't.
All those 19-year-olds you just referenced can't.
Yeah.
Poor bastards. He got you out, and he took your smokes. Sorry.
If you are under the age and you're in the U.S. military, and you find me on the street, I will not buy you a pack of fucking cigarettes and a beer. I will not.
If you could lean into that just a little harder, I'm not sure they got it.
Heavy wink! Fuck.
Hey man, it's not my fault that you tend to leave, packs of cigarettes on the bar.
It happens.
Anyway, that's kind of all we had today. We really need to wrap up this cigar review. We're like well past the back half and into the nub at this point.
Yeah.
It's a good cigar though, so. Alright, till we see you again, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jake.
We are the Dirt Road Men. Hey everybody, if you like this video, hit a like or dislike, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if you really like what we're doing, check us out over on Facebook, where we post every day.